This is UAP. This is a story about shape-shifting reptilians in the news presently. Now, I'm going to start this off. This is an AI rendering of what a conceptual drawing of two witnesses that I interviewed who actually witnessed a shapeshift reptilian. Now, this is a little glorified. They saw some definite snake eyes appear. Okay. Anyway, the point is this individual, and I'm not going to go in too deep because these guys don't want their identity. They don't want to get doxxed. But this individual was a smarmily dressed New York marketing executive with a young, lavishly dressed female companion. And they know all this because the guy mentioned it. He had lost his driver's license and he said he needed it to fly back to New York. But in any case, these guys were very believable. And Ike has been talking about this for years, and there's many other instances of this, which I'm going to talk about during this video, of shape-shifting reptilians. However, there's an angle on a present news story that's not being covered, and I'm trying to connect the dots here. I think it's a great story. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. How does it make sense to you? I don't know. There's a lot of dots to connect here. This is about Jeffrey Epstein. And some little known facts. There's one of his victims or paramours or whatever, Juliet Farther, I believe is her name, has stated that he, or rather she, saw him shapeshift in front of her. And she's pretty adamant about it. And, I often see I just want to mention this, every photograph I see of Jeffrey Epstein, he is posing. There is not one candid photograph of him. He's tilting his head. He's holding his head back. It's almost as if, this is his mug shot here. But it's almost as if he doesn't want a straight on, I think it also indicates what a phony he was, or how he was putting on a mask, as a spy or whatever, intelligence asset, whatever he was, but also that he did not want, to photograph someone. Your camera's supposed to be in the same plane, straight and level as the face, and the face is supposed to be looking into the camera and so forth. So it's almost as if he did not want to get a photo taken, and you look at the photos of Jeffrey Epstein, and you will see he's always clowning, turning his head. I have yet to find this is the closest thing to a portrait here. And you can see even here, his head is tilted and twisted. You see how it's, if you're viewing this, tilted to the left and twisted to the right slightly? See what I'm talking about? Pupils of the eyes, which is what these guys saw shapeshift. Anyway, let's move on to this story. This is a drawing by Juliet Bryant of what she saw during the Epstein shapeshift. This is from a video by Richard Willett. I have this all laid out here so you can look this up yourself. I would add that this this is something that she felt compelled to bring up, and she has brought up in more ways than one. In her testimony, so far I found it with this Richard Willett on his interview show. I haven't seen it anywhere else, but now that is a full, I would say that is a full Lizard King shapeshift there. I think I'm going to use the Lizard King term here. This occurred out at Epstein's ranch, and this is a blurb from Wikipedia. 10,000 acres. That is a big ranch. A mansion out in the middle of nowhere. Cerro Pelon Ranch, he called it the Zorro Ranch. And Tom Ford was one of his neighbors. And New Mexico Governor Bruce King was one of his neighbors. And members of the King family appear in Epstein's little black book of contacts. Epstein donated to the son of Bruce King, Attorney General, blah, blah, blah. So, and these, when you have a 10,000 acre ranch, your neighbor it's a ways away. But this is just to give you a concept. And this is in Santa Fe. It's in Santa Fe County, New Mexico. And we're going to go through a map here. I just want you to get an idea of, this location where this happened. This is the ranch, is the Zorro Ranch, is located in that lower right. And Albuquerque is the start point on this. I was trying to demonstrate the distance from Roswell to this Zorro Ranch, and it's probably, 120, 25, 130 miles away. But it's right in the neighborhood. And I think I have a better map here following. Yeah. Now that large, the heart there, I believe the heart is what we're looking at. I think the other point is maybe Roswell. But anyway, you can see Moab, Sedona, Las Vegas, Area 51, the nuclear testing grounds. There is the, I can't think of the name of it, the Air Force Base that's kind of up at the top of this picture where supposedly Eisenhower met with the Gray Collective. Okay, it's a very famous and an infamous Air Force base, whose name escapes me at the moment. You guys can look that up. But I just want to show you, this is kind of like, Roswell, Ross Coulthard just did some things on Moab and Sedona, portals and things going on there. There is a Indian reservation, which I was told by a guy doing a documentary on reservations, that they were put in places that were known to have Bigfoot sightings. Okay, a little crypto-terrestrial there. Anyway, this is it always struck me, other than the sheer remoteness, why would a billionaire international playboy pick such a desolate spot for one of his lairs? And you can see that there's a lot of chi going on here, a lot of alien energy in this neighborhood. There's a picture of the house, and I'm not sure what that is to the left. It's probably some occult-related. He had a lot of occult-related statuary and monuments and things. I'm not sure what that is. I haven't gone through the history of this, but this was it's a very big mansion. It's out in the middle of nowhere, and it's not far from Roswell, and it's relatively close to Area 51. Now, this Juliet, she said she wasn't sure if there were underground levels to this house or not, because she felt, and you can watch that interview yourself. That's a great channel. She felt she was drugged some of the time she was there, and she said she was not drugged when she saw the shapeshift. But there may be underground, and of course there's all these lore of underground tunnels connecting various sites, including Area 51 and so forth. So I'm just saying there's a lot of woo going on in this neighborhood, okay? And that's a weird mansion to have out in the middle of nowhere, and that's a weird place to have one. Now, this is an actual picture of the interior, one of the interiors on the room. It looks like, you know, a James Bond villain lair, okay? That's the view. Desolate, as you can see, nobody anywhere for miles, okay? So we're talking in the middle of nowhere. And this is where this girl was taken. This was a stop on the circuit. I believe there was an airstrip nearby, but in any case, many of the girls were taken there. This girl had spent some time there. Now this is Maria Farmer's FBI diagram. This is a painting that one of the Epstein victims did, and Epstein is, I don't know if this is an allegory or what, in a flying saucer, pictured in a flying saucer in this painting, and Ghislaine Maxwell is pictured as a bloodthirsty reptile. And of course, this painting was done a long time ago, or a while ago. It wasn't done just for this, you know, the event of this video, certainly, but it's very, you know, we have an eyewitness. Now we got a painting, and I have this painting here. As you can see, up in the upper right-hand corner is, you know, Epstein's head, and I guess that's a stylized of his body on a UFO, kind of on a tower there. And in the very center is Ghislaine Maxwell with a reptile body, and looks like a reptile tongue too. But there's a lot of caricatures here. I think Bill Clinton's over there in the TV, and I think there's another character over there with a crocodile head in a suit, and there's other celebrities here. You can take a look at this at your leisure. You can find it on the internet and so forth, and check out that guy's videos on that site I mentioned. But I think it's more than coincidence that things are indicated like this. And now we got, you know, at least two sources here at this remote area. And it's just, why would this suddenly occur? You know, these drawings are often cathartic and, you know, ways of working through PTSD and so forth. And I think this mural, until they got a black octopus in the corner over there. I mean, there's a lot going on here. I think that's Lex Wexler in the middle. Anyway, alien and reptile reference there. Now, this, you can read this, and this again is Richard Willett. But anyway, they cited this Juliet Bryant and others that were, you know, victims of Jeffrey Epstein, cited UFOs, cited orbs. They said they cited blue orbs evidently repeatedly at this site. All the colors of the orbs have different meanings. I'm not sure what the blue orb means, but they symbolized all these victims. It was like a code to them. They used a blue butterfly because these things were flitting around, and this symbolized the sighting of these UFOs. And these blue butterflies come up. So now you've got shape-shifting reptilians, UFOs, a ranch out in the middle of nowhere, amongst all this woo, this international man of mystery, Now this, I just want to mention this. This is an AI drawing. I'm not the biggest fan of these, and there's another one earlier, but it's just a graphic. The thing is, if you dig into the Epstein documentation or interviews or so forth, eventually you come to him. Now, this girl Juliet mentioned that she felt that Epstein took eggs from her body, that he offered girls, $1 million for their eggs. She felt that, and don't quote me on this, but she felt that she was drugged and perhaps her eggs were removed at that massive ranch in the Zora Ranch. And she did not know whether it was or was not underground. But, this whole culling of eggs and much talk of cloning, much talk of eugenics, much talk of... there's even been speculation that Epstein wasn't killed, that a clone of his was killed, and so forth. But I'm just saying, this is all very NIH, non-human intelligence. I mean, is this a non-human intelligence operation that is, hiding in plain sight as a intelligence operation, a human intelligence operation? Is there a secondary program going on here? And, I think this is something that I'm going to present some evidence now that you might want to think about that. Now, this is a book by Everett Ammon. It's the Lizard King Sex Agenda, How Alien Races Using Our Libidos to Conquer Our World. And it talks about lizard kings, use of sexuality as a tool for enslavement, and how victims fell prey to lizard sexual manipulation. And he talks here about a young rap star. Anyway, this is a book that's available on Amazon. And again, Everett Ammon, Ammon. And the point is, there's not a lot of work on this outside of David Icke and some other esoterics. This is basically a collection of 3 short stories about different women in this case who were it reads like Jeffrey Epstein, only in the end they start shapeshifting into lizard kings, and it is just uncanny how similar this is. And in the general literature about the lizard kings, sex is mentioned often, sexuality and so forth. Interacting with humans and human females and so forth, and human males even. But the point is, this book, and again, according to this author, and these sound very real. These do not sound made up, these stories. But to read this book, I'll tell you, it's eye-opening when you compare it to Jeffrey Epstein. Of course, not exactly the same, but man. And there is the cover of the book. I believe it's just an ebook. But yeah, I'll tell you what, this ain't bad. This is some interesting reading. It's not a long read, and it's very much just the Facts Man Dragnet style. But anyway, this all goes along with me connecting the dots here, and I'll tell you, every time I see this stuff, it just makes my brain go off. Now, this is the Pat Price. Pat Price was seen as one of the best remote viewers ever in the existence of remote viewing. He was a Scientologist, as were almost all of the major original, you probably didn't know this, the original remote viewers were Scientologists. And they were reporting all their results back to Scientology. And, one of the tenets of Scientology is this, Nordic versus Lizard King war. So you can tie all that in, too. Now, this is a report that Daz Smith resurrected, and I think there's a paperback version of this on Amazon, but I just want to go through a couple sections here. This is part of this report talks about, and Dr. David Jacobs talks about this too, about the NIH human control, okay? And how they can program and manipulate and embed instructions in you. And David Jacobs is very upset about this, and and it's something also that the hybrids, as David Jacobs calls them, they can also do it. And I just saw some research. They found this very thin, it's 2 millimeters or a millimeter thick organ in the brain, near the center of the brain. It's symmetrical on each sides of the brain stem. And if this is stimulated with a microwave, I think it was microwaves or electricity, whatever it was, you can research this on your own. It can induce paralysis and other things. So I think that, there's so much testimony and so much, if you watch any of David Jacobs' stuff, he'll go over chapter and verse on this about how the people he is consulting with on this, how they are facing this. They're getting up in the middle of the night and going meeting people and showing them how to shop in grocery stores and so forth. Now, Corso said that the Greys that he had seen information on had technology implanted in their brains. And so, if there was a microwave generator, blah, 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 you can see how this would all work out. But anyway, now this shows a reptilian doing that. Now, this is Pat Price. And this was done years ago. He states that there's all kind of, and these are not, well, what they are, they're people that have a lot of leverage over opinion and can manipulate large numbers of people, he says. And he says that these are under control by non-human intelligence. Okay, they're humans, but they're, they've been mind controlled basically by the non-human intelligence. And it says detective very pragmatic authoritarian. And he says they're sources of third-party activity which cause strife in the society, like global warming and other things. We're just not going to pay attention to that. Now, I mean, I've blacked this out, and I'm just going to keep it blacked out. And I didn't even show all this. Here's some people in the scientific field. Most renowned physicists, published works using advanced physics used in major universities. Okay? You can put two and two together on that. Scholars, these people getting foundation grants, working for world federations. Again, I'm not going to dox any of these alleged controlled individuals, and he actually points people out. Now he says also in the space field, a chairman in the U.S. Senate of a committee, chairman of a House committee, director of a space center somewhere, director of a computer center for space, an advisor to the president. He indicates that these are often adjacent to powerful people. Okay. In the Soviet bloc, he says people are also under influence in the Soviet bloc. Chairman, a science advisor to the Supreme Soviet, director of internal security, chairman of the Department of Physics, secretary to the chairman. These are political positions. On top are space, on the bottom are political. There are political individuals that are under this control. Also mentions prominent people in education. Director of physics, dean, coordinator, dean, director of education, president, chairman. Okay? Also under this control. Okay? Now the question I have, and again, we have Epstein avoiding a full frontal photograph. Again, there's two questions I have here. Number one, if Epstein was a lizard king, was he conducting mind control on prominent people to, progress their program, the NIH program here? That's number one. And some of these girls, obviously, the way they succumb to him, as that paperback book said, I mean, it's almost like, and that girl depicted Ghislaine Maxwell. I mean, it's almost like they were, because, how do you get all these young girls to hang out with these old dudes and all? Is there mind control? Okay, was there mind control? Doesn't seem to be drugs, doesn't seem to be violence, right? So the question is, are these people that were associated, and I'm not going to mention any names, with Epstein, were they being mind controlled? Or number two, are they like NIH, and they're not being controlled? They're just coming to the clubhouse, just meeting up with their buddies. Either way, I do think the mind control is something. I mean, you can string these pearls together yourself and tell me what you think in the comments. But again, I think all this stuff, to my mind, it sticks together. And some other thing, Pat Price mentioned leaders of industry too. Okay? And again, you could see Epstein is squinting, he's tilting his head, anything but a real photograph, right? And he mentioned leaders in education. We're under alien control. Anyway, I just thought these were a lot of dots. I wanted to connect them. Haven't made a video for a while. I think this, this is worth more research. Sean Atwood has mentioned some of this, that Willett guy with his, I encourage you to see his website and get that book. But I don't think anybody is taking this angle on this story. I've seen some comical references to it. And again, you see Jeffrey Epstein is avoiding, again, a head-on picture there. But, yeah, what do you guys think? I don't know. It's a lot of woo, guys. This is UAP.